Yeah, so I was talking about that we start with trigonometry and very basic but very important. Huh? So what we do, first of all, we have to know that there is one more measurement of angle. Okay, one more way you can measure angle. That's called radian measurement. Huh? And it is known that pi radian. There is no symbol for radian. You'll see a C here sometimes, but that's not going to be used later on. So pi radian is always 180 degrees. Okay, maybe you know this already. Pi radian is 180 degrees. So 1 degree will be obviously pi by 180 radians. So you see, for x degree the conversion will be pi by 180 will be multiplied to x. Okay, so this can act like a formula to convert into degrees. Degrees you convert into radians, huh? And if you are converting radian to degrees, then what you do? You do 180 by pi multiplication. Okay. Now, so let's write few angles which I'll be using all the time. Like, because pi is 180 degrees, let's write how much is 30, 45, 60, 90, huh? And more, huh? So like 180 and 360. What will be the radian measurement of these things? If I convert them into radian, I have to multiply by pi by 180, huh? And 45 and 180 cancels to give you pi by 4. Huh? So basically you can convert with this formula, but I'm going to write down pi by 4, 60 degree. Okay, will be I left 30, that is pi by 6, because 180 by 6, 60 is pi by 3, 90 is pi by 2, 180 is pi, you know already, and 360 is 2 pi. Okay, so these angles should be set in mind. Huh? So once I say pi by 6, mentally you see this as 180 by 6. So this will be easier for you to understand that this is 30 degrees. Huh? Pi by 4, 180 by 4, 90 by 2, 45. That's how mentally it works in brain. Huh? If I talk about the formula and all, that's fine to teach. But actually when it comes to application, it's not the formulas that actually helps you out. You have to see that what quicker way you can get it, so that we can be directly getting the answers very quickly. All right. Now I'll explain how different quantities like sine, cos, tan, and the first thing to start with in trigonometry is that a circle can be divided into four equal parts called quadrant. Quadrant. That's why four equal parts. Now this is called first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. Huh? We all know that there are four quadrants. Huh? We know that already. And we know there are six trigonometric quantities. So to understand, let's take a triangle here. I'll draw triangles in all four quadrants and we'll explain one by one how the six quantities are positive or negative in the respective quadrants. Okay, so these are four right angle triangles. And let's start with the first triangle. Let us say that this angle is angle theta acute. Right now, to prove everything, I am assuming theta to be acute angle. All right, acute means less than 90. So this is all in the first quadrant. Now you see direction of x-axis in this direction is positive and y-axis is positive up. Radius of a circle, that can never be negative obviously. So this is always, all these radii are all positive. So I take this angle theta. In the first quadrant you write sine theta. Okay, like sine theta. This will be perpendicular upon hypotenuse. See, positive upon positive. So positive. Cos theta. Base positive upon positive. So positive again. Whatever you write, any ratio, all 6 ratios, tan theta, p by b, positive. That's why all trigonometric quantities in the first quadrant will be positive. Okay. Now, let's take the second quadrant. This part of the x-axis is negative and y is positive. So you see in this right angle triangle, when I write sine, I get positive upon positive. Fine. So sine is positive here. And then clearly 1 upon sine theta, which is cosec theta, will also be positive. Huh? So let's not talk about cosec right now. Let's talk about only sine. Okay, and 1 by sine obviously will be positive. You can understand that. So if your angle theta is in the second quadrant, then your sine is positive. But all other quantities like cos, see, negative upon positive. So negative. Tan, positive upon negative. So negative. That means except sine and cosec, all other 4 quantities will be negative in the second quadrant. Similarly, in the third quadrant, you can see downside y is negative, x is negative, so only tan theta will be positive, negative upon negative will be positive. So only tan theta and 1 upon tan, that is cot theta, will be positive, all other quantities will be negative here. And in the fourth quadrant, you can see that this is negative, so whatever is going to contain perpendicular will be negative, okay, and base upon hypotenuse, so that is cos theta will be positive here. That's why you are always taught in trigonometry all sine, tan, cos, the order. So this thing can be, many people create mnemonics and all these things, like after school to college, after school to cinema, I don't know, man, like, I don't believe in all those mnemonics because the reason is in front of me, I don't have to cram anything. So whatever angle is here, you can see, like if I say the angle is 135 degree, you can call it 180 minus 45, so that's in the second quadrant. So you see sine 135, which is 180 minus 45, second quadrant, will be positive. All other things will be negative. Okay. Similarly, you can find out for all 4 quadrants. This gives us many formulas actually. I'll write down few. Like if I write sine pi minus theta, cos pi minus theta. You know pi is 180 degrees. You can write 180 also, but now it's preferable that you write pi or radian all the time. What is sine pi minus theta? Pi minus theta. So see, pi minus theta. We are in the second quadrant where sine is positive. So keep it positive and write sine theta. Okay. Whenever you have pi, that is you are on the x-axis. Your angle is getting constructed with x-axis. You can see pi minus theta, pi plus theta, 2 pi minus theta, 2 pi plus theta, all the quantities won't change. So basically like cos pi minus theta will remain cos theta only. But you have to see that cos in this quadrant is negative or positive. It's negative, so it will be minus cos theta. Fine. Tan will remain tan theta only because the angle is with the x-axis. You will understand this more when I talk about y-axis. Right now you see the angle is with x-axis. So in that quadrant it's minus. So you can write all 6 trigonometric quantities like this. Alright. Now if I talk about plus sign, let's make it plus, plus, plus. Now your 180 plus theta, that lies in the third quadrant. So automatically your sine will be negative, cos will be negative, but tan will be positive because in that quadrant only tan is positive and you know the reason why. Alright. Similarly, if I write all the quantities for sine 2 pi minus theta, cos 2 pi minus theta, tan 2 pi minus theta, you see it's 2 pi. Huh? So if you consider this whole thing 2 pi, 360 degree, and then minus theta. One thing you should know, and you already know most likely, that angle is always taken in anti-clockwise manner, moving from the positive direction of x-axis. Huh? You have to start your angle from positive direction of x-axis. This is positive direction of x-axis. You need to start your angle from there and move in anti-clockwise manner. Then the angle is considered positive. However, if you go clockwise, the angle will be considered negative. Okay. So whenever it's like 2 pi, so 2 pi and then minus theta, so clockwise acute angle theta. So you are in which quadrant? You are in fourth quadrant. So that fourth quadrant, obviously sine theta will remain sine theta, cos theta will remain cos theta, and tan theta will remain tan theta, but the sign. Huh? So sine is positive or negative in the fourth quadrant? Negative, positive, negative. This actually, if you don't understand this and just cram, it's not going to be that easy to keep those so many formulas. In fact, 24 formulas done so far. It's not easy to keep all these things in mind. So what we do, we understand well, and then we write these formulas. Now once you understand this, you are independent. I'll show you how you are independent. So you can note this down, pause the video. I'm going to erase all these things. I ask you how much is tan anything random like 5 pi minus theta, and you'll be able to answer me. Huh? See how you'll be able to answer. Like 5 pi, so 1 pi, 2 pi. Huh? Pi is like 180 degree. No? 3 pi if I add one more, 4 pi, 5 pi, so 5 pi you are here, minus theta, so go back clockwise. Huh? In which quadrant you are standing now? You are standing in the second quadrant. So minus tan theta. If I say find the value of sine something like 8 pi minus theta, it will be minus sine theta. You know why? Because 8 pi you are standing again, 2 pi, 4 pi, and so on. You move like 360 degree all the time. 2 pi, you come back here. Any even number multiplied to pi, you are standing on the positive part of x-axis. Any odd number multiplied to pi, you are standing to the negative side. So accordingly, you can find out, like, if I say 8 pi minus theta means you have completed full circles, and then minus theta, so it is the fourth quadrant. Huh? Now, fourth quadrant means sine is negative because all sine, tan, cos. Okay, so you get a minus sine theta. Alright. Note this down. You can write down any angle. Huh? 8 pi plus theta. Like if I write 10 pi plus theta, I will go to the first quadrant, isn't it? Because 10 pi you are back here again and plus theta. So first quadrant everything is positive. Now how this helps? We'll get any random value. No? Like suppose you have to find out the value of say tan and something like let's take 19 pi by 4. Anything you can take. Huh? Now it's going to be very easy if I teach you my technique. 19 pi by 4, I have like you can easily think of this property or this method. Break 19 pi in the nearest multiple of the denominator. Right now it's 4. So 19 pi I can write 20 pi minus pi because 20 is the nearest multiple. If it's a 16, it will be far from what 20 is to 19. So 20 pi by 4. So split that by 4. Now you have tan. So 4 5 are 20. 5 pi minus pi by 4. See, no hassle of finding out that how much it is. The worst method will be you do 19 into 360 by 4, and that's foolishness, you know. You're just calculating a big angle, then you'll keep rotating it to find out where you're standing. This is so easy because 5 pi means you're standing here, and minus, so you go back. So you're in the second quadrant, isn't it? So you got answer as minus tan theta. Okay. Then tan pi by 4 is 1. You know tan 45 is 1. So minus 1. That means your answer is minus 1. So that's the way we can break any angle. Huh? If the angle is in degrees, then carry on with degrees. But if the angle is in radian, never reconvert to degrees. Huh? That's really a childish puerile method. Okay, so there's no point. Now I was telling you guys earlier that the angle is not with y-axis. So let's take angle now with y-axis. Huh? What happens if I take any angle with y-axis? Now angle is here. You get 90. Huh? Pi by 2. One chunk of pi by 2. So 4 pi by 2 makes it 2 pi. Getting me? Pi by 2, pi by 2, pi by 2, pi by 2. Theta. So let's write sine pi by 2 plus theta. What it becomes? You have to keep in mind that whenever the angle is with y-axis, which happens at odd multiple of pi by 2. Huh? Why odd multiple? Because you see, I have done 1 pi by 2, then 2 pi by 2 and 3 pi by 2. Okay. Then 4 pi by 2, 5 pi by 2, 7 pi by 2, 9 pi by 2, huh? And so on. So all the odd numbers multiplied to pi by 2 will bring you on the y-axis. Okay. Now you add theta to it. You are in the second quadrant right now. Huh? It's pi by 2 plus theta. So sine pi by 2 plus theta. Any odd number multiplied to pi by 2, I was telling you earlier, is always going to change the quantity to its co-function. Co-function means like sine will become cosine. Tangent will become cotangent, huh? Which we call cot. Secant will become cosecant. You know, cosec. Huh? So sine will become cos theta. But sine in this quadrant, the input, not the output. Huh? Sine in this quadrant is positive, second quadrant, so it will be cos theta. Whereas if I write cos 90 pi by 2 plus theta, it should change to sine theta first of all because it's odd multiple of pi by 2 and you are in the second quadrant. So the answer is minus sine theta because cos in this quadrant is negative. Sine is positive here, okay, but we don't see the output, we see the input. Tan pi by 2 plus theta will be, obviously changes to cot theta and will be negative because in the second quadrant tan is negative. Okay, so we can create again so many formulas, you know. So you are done with 48 formulas with this teaching. Let's take any random thing. Let's take like sine 7 pi by 2 plus theta. Let's find out in which quadrant we are. Huh? Now, how do you know that 7 pi by 2 is going to be up or down? Again, a very simple method. You have to see the nearest multiple of 4. Huh? So, 8 is the nearest multiple. There is a 7 pi here. If this number is 1 less, then the nearest multiple of 4, then you are down. If this number is 1 plus, the nearest multiple plus 1 gives you this number. Nearest multiple of 4, then you are here. Like if I write 9, then you are up. If I write 11, you are down. Because 12, you know. So nearest multiple of 4 minus 1, you are down. Nearest multiple of 4 plus 1, you are up. So you can see that where you are standing. Okay. So this 7 pi by 2 is down there and we have a plus theta to it. Plus means you make it like, you know, you add to it. You go anti-clockwise. You are in which quadrant now? You are standing in the fourth quadrant. Okay. So sine is negative there. And because it's odd multiple of pi by 8, it should change to cos theta. So, you can write anything, any random thing, and you'll be able to find out the value of that. Alright.